Here is a complete interview of one of the successful candidates for the civil services.
Now, Mr. Javed Usmani.
Yes, sir.
You have a rather surprising record. Excellent from intermediate onwards.
Thank you, sir.
And, no, all around, sir. No, sorry. High school, intermediate, BSc. But then after doing physics, chemistry and mathematics, he branched off to management.
Yes, sir.
He didn't think of continuing in physics or chemistry or mathematics, one of the sciences.
I thought so, but at that point in time I thought that MBA would be better.
I see.
Because after BSc,
Yes.
I thought of two alternatives insofar as job is concerned. The IAS and the private sector management. And since my age was not enough to make me eligible for the IAS, I had to wait for 3 years anyway at that time. So I thought that I'll go through both the alternatives, that is do my MBA, work in the private sector, and then appear at the IAS.
Now you did join the private sector.
I did think, sir, of doing research in physics for some time, but after that I dropped that idea, and then I had two alternatives in front of me, either appearing for the IAS examination or going in for a management career in the private sector. Since I could not have been eligible in terms of age for appearing at the examination for 3 more years, I thought I might as well do MBA, see what the private sector is like, and later appear at the IAS.
I see. Now you have worked in Madura courts
Yes,
for
sir.
some time as management trainee. Now they must have paid you more than they are likely to get in government for several years now.
Well, that's true, sir.
Now, you tell us briefly what attracted you to government service. Was it status or security or the prospect of wielding authority?
Well, sir, I preferred the job that I would be doing in the IAS, if I'm selected, to the job that I was doing in Madura courts for 2 reasons primarily. Number one, I personally feel that the IAS offers a lot of variety. That is, your job keeps on changing in a substantial manner from time to time. While in the private sector, I was in the marketing division of Madura courts, and I would have been a marketing man all my life, which might have got a little boring towards the end.
I see.
And the second and more important reason is that I feel that this job would give me more satisfaction in terms of a sense of achievement than a job in the private sector. Although it's an exciting job there also, but this is more challenging and more satisfying, I think.
Now, Mr. Usmani, in our country we have a mixed economy.
Yes, sir.
Now, would you tell us what you understand by mixed economy?
So, mixed economy is one in which, as a matter of policy, both the public and the private sector are allowed to exist side by side, complementing each other.
Yes. And what do you understand by Gandhian economics?
So this is a term which has been in use of late quite a lot, but not very well understood, I think. So I also don't know very much about it, but I can make a guess. I personally feel that Gandhian economics would mean not industrializing on a very large scale, decentralization, small scale industry, lot of emphasis on agriculture and rural industries.
Now, there's just one more question I'd like to ask you before I hand you over to a colleague of mine. You are from UP.
Yes, sir.
Now, do you think UP is too large a state to be administered properly, or should be broken up into 2 or 3 states?
So I can't say offhand. UP is a very big state, population-wise as well as area-wise. It wouldn't be my idea actually. I've been reading about it, and a lot of people have been saying that UP should be broken up and it will be administratively much better if UP is broken up into smaller areas. But I don't really have any particular thought of mine on this subject, sir.
That's all right.
When did you do your management training?
So I was in the 74, 76 batch.
What is the duration?
2 years, sir.
I see. And then you were a management training Madura course. How long?
I was in Madura course for 10.5 months.
Oh, I see. Now, with your background, you should be able to tell us the qualities which go to make a successful executive or a successful administrator. Business magazine very humorously describes a successful executive as one who can delegate all the responsibility, shift all the blame, and appropriate all the credit. But I don't think you agree. I don't agree either. But you tell us from a past experience.
A successful executive or a successful administrator should possess basically two qualities. Number one, he should be absolutely thorough about the job that he is doing, that is technical expertise. In whatever area he is, he should know more than his subordinates about the job that he's supposed to get done out of them. And secondly, I think he should be very good in human relations, that is in establishing a good working relationship with his subordinates and his superiors and his peers. These two qualities, I think, are the essential qualities of a successful executive.
What about leadership?
Leadership, I think, is a specific quality which comes in that human relations aspect. That is a general, there's a general quality which contains a lot of specific factors like leadership, motivation of subordinates, good relations within the office, no acrimony between peers. So all these things, I think, should be covered by the general factor, general quality of human relations, good human relations.
Because a district administrator has got to lead the team. He's got to be a good leader.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Usmani, I find that you have offered two papers on European history.
Yes, sir, the lower and the higher.
I see. I would just like to put a question or two on these areas that you have studied. What would have been the consequences of a decision to open the second front not on Normandy beach but in Southeast Europe, in the Balkan area somewhere there?
If
during the Second World War, you see.
If the second front had been opened in the south of Europe, that is in the Balkans, then the Americans and the British armies would have been able to come across all these countries.
Mr. Usmani, I'll take you up from one of the answers you gave to my colleague.
Yes, ma'am.
You said international law started with the Crimean War and came to be respected after the Crimean War. Can you explain that?
Prior to the Crimean War, the character of international law was primarily as a law between Christian nations. It was only after the Crimean War that Turkey was included in the family of nations, and being a non-Christian country, the character of international law became really international after that.
What would you say is the position of international law today?
Can you please elaborate this question?
You see, because the general impression is that international law is not respected by the different nations of the world.
The question that you're asking is primarily that whether international law is a law at all, or
does it have any validity in the contemporary world?
Well, it does not have a validity which is comparable to municipal law in a country, but it certainly has a validity of its own, because there are certain kinds of sanctions which are imposed on a country which does not obey international law. For instance, the first and the most important sanction is that of the United Nations.
Mr. Usmani, although your first preference is the administrative service, I'm sure that you take some interest in international affairs.
Yes, I do, sir.
What kind of reading do you do?
Nothing in particular,
country?
but I've been reading the Time, for instance.
About what particular country do you focus your interest in the international field?
China, for instance, sir.
China. What about the Arab world, for instance?
I'm interested in that also.
You know, because in November last, a very historic trip was made by President Sadat to Israel.
Yes, sir.
What kind of significance do you see in that? Could you evaluate for us how do you see that trip of Sadat?
So by making the trip, Sadat, in a way, gave de facto recognition to Israel. Not de jure, but de facto recognized that Israel is a country which exists. Till then, the Arab world has had more or less negated the existence of Israel. They had not been willing to accept that Israel exists. So that is the significance of
But
it.
it has caused a lot of hostility in the rest of the Arab world. Do you think he'd be able to pull it off, so to speak? You know, a lot of countries like Saudi Arabia
Yes, sir.
and Jordan
Syria.
helping him, Syria. So you don't think it's too much of a risk?
Sir, I think personally that Sadat is looking after the interest of Egypt more than the interest of the Arab world. That is, he is going away from the course that Nasser had laid for Egypt as a leader of the Arab world. And by making this move, he has sort of taken a decision that Egyptian interest should also be taken into account.
Javed, I see here that you studied for some time in Government Inter College Bareilly.
Yes, sir.
I give you a small situation round about Bareilly.
Yes, sir.
Now, supposing you are living in a village between river Ramganga and Bareilly, and you have qualified for this interview.
Sir.
And you have planned to leave early in the morning, 3 o'clock, 3 a.m., to catch the train from Bareilly to reach here for this interview this morning by 10 o'clock. When you are getting ready, you see or you hear a lot of noise from the nearby Band or river Ramganga, which was in spate, and water is gushing towards your village. Your quick appreciation is that the village, which consists of kacha houses, population about 1,000, will be washed away. You are the eldest son of the village sarpanch. You have to plan your next plan of action, and I want to see your reaction